All right, here's the deal. Over the last 6 months, the budget launch monitor world has gotten, let's say, more confusing. There are 3 products specifically that are all great in their own right, but they all have different features, they're all at different prices, and trying to figure out which one to buy can be really confusing. So today, I'm gonna do my best job to tell you which one of these products is right for you. And those products are this, the Rapsodo MLM2PRO, this, the Garmin R10, and this, the Swing Caddie SC4. So I'm gonna kind of compare and contrast these, but what I hope to do is explain each one of these and what they're good at, what they're not. So you say, oh yeah, that's me. Or, oh yeah, nope, I don't want that one. And to help make your choice a little bit easier, because honestly, it's confusing when they all do kind of the same thing, but they all do it kind of differently. Let's go. And if at the end of this video you're still not sure which one of these is right for you, or maybe should you spend less money and get something else, or spend more money, I put together a 20-second quiz. You can go click it, the link is below. You answer 4 or 5 questions about what you are looking for in a launch monitor, and I'm gonna tell you which one I think you should get. If you are confused, if you're not sure which one is right for you, I think this is going to be very helpful, so go click the link. So I want to address a comment I got recently, which basically said, you're too positive. All of these products you review can't be all good. But here's the thing. All of these products are good in different ways, and they're all bad in different ways too. So there is no perfect launch monitor. What's right for me may not be right for you, may not be right for the guy down the street. And so it's my job to try and tell you what all of those pros and cons are and allow you to decide for yourself which one is the best for your needs. So I can tell you my overall favorite launch monitor is the Mevo Plus, but you might not be looking for a launch monitor that can cost anywhere from $2,000 to $3,500. I could say that the subscription fee on the Rapsodo really sucks, and so that's a deal breaker. But for you, paying $180 for all the features it provides, you might be like, that's a bargain, I'm happy to pay that. So there is no one size fits all. So my goal is just to provide as much information as I can after having tested all of these extensively so that you can figure out what is right for you. So now I'm gonna go through the pros and cons of each of these one by one. So hopefully, as I'm talking about one of them, you're gonna say, yep, that sounds right. Yep, that's what I need. Yep, I'm okay with that compromise. Yeah, this one's the one for me. Or the opposite. Nope, I definitely need this. Nope, I'm not willing to compromise on that. I don't want that one. And so at the end of this, hopefully, if you are in the market for a launch monitor between $500 and $1,000, hopefully this is gonna answer that question. Okay, let's start with the least expensive one first. That is the Swing Caddie SC4. It retails for $549, although if you use the coupon code below and buy it through playbetter.com, you are going to get $50 off, bringing it down to $499. In my opinion, this is the best launch monitor under $500. There's a couple big things that set this apart from either of the other two we're talking about, but the most obvious one is this one has a built-in screen. So if you're the type of person that doesn't want to deal with the app, you just want to set it up on the range occasionally or set it up in your garage, see the distances, and not have to deal with any of that extra Bluetooth crap, then go get this one, because that's one of the things I love about it. It also has a built-in remote. So you don't have to go up to it and fiddle around with things or fiddle around with the screen. You just pull it out of your pocket, tell it what club you're using, and away you go. So that is really nice. This one also takes the least amount of space. So if space is a consideration where you are, this only needs to be placed 5 feet behind the ball, whereas these need to be placed 7 to 8 feet. So a 2 to 3 foot difference may not seem like a lot, but if you're building something in your basement or in a garage, that can be the difference between whether or not you can use it effectively or not. I found this to be very accurate with wedges and irons. It's within 2 to 3 yards of the data I get through the Bushnell Launch Pro, which is the most accurate launch monitor I have, and it's what I use for testing purposes. Where things go awry is once you start getting into woods and drivers. There, the data gets a little bit more variable, the spin rates get off, the carry distances get off, and I've really struggled to get accurate data, especially indoors with the SC4. But if you're someone who's mostly focusing on wedges or irons, or you're primarily using it outside, then I think it's totally acceptable, the data you're getting from this. The SC4 also does not have a subscription fee, so you can use all of the features for free, and like the other 2 products we're going to talk about, it comes with E6 simulator access. The downside to that is it only comes with 1 course. The Garmin R10, I believe, comes with 5 courses, and the Rapsodo comes with 6. So if simulator access is one of the primary things you are doing and you don't want to pay out of pocket for extra courses, then you might want to consider something else, because that 1 course is probably going to get a little tedious over time. With all of that said, the one biggest downside to this is the app sucks. The app really does not work very well. It's not user-friendly. It's not very easy to get the data you want. It's not easy to organize the data you want. So if you're primarily looking for a device you want to use long-term and really rely on that data and compare sessions and all of that type of stuff, then I don't think this is the way to go. Because it's a new product and the app is relatively new, I'm hopeful that their devs are going to keep pumping out updates and it's only going to get better, but it's a little bit too early to tell. So all of that to say, I think this is a little bit less accurate than the Rapsodo. I think in many ways it's about on par as far as accuracy when compared to the R10. The spin rates for wedges and irons I think are better on this than they are on the Garmin R10, but the Garmin is more consistent when you also factor in driver and woods. So if you're looking for the device that's the least expensive, takes up the least amount of space, is the easiest to set up and has a built-in screen, this is for you. But if you're primarily going to rely on the app or simulator, then you might keep watching because I think you might find either the Garmin or the Rapsodo to be a better fit. Okay, next up we were talking about the Garmin Approach R10. This came out a couple years ago. This is the oldest product out here, so that might make you think, well, it's older, the technology is not going to be as good, I don't want to get it. But you would be wrong if you were thinking that way. This is still an excellent device, especially at $599. On paper, between the added screen, the remote, less space, it looks like the SC4 is kind of the better bang for your buck option. But Garmin has dialed things in. Their app is not perfect by any means. There's a lot of people that struggle with the Garmin Golf app, but when you compare it to what you get with the SC4, it is like the best app in the world. Overall, I found the accuracy to be really solid with this. The one area where I found accuracy to be a little suspect is with spin rates, so I would just kind of ignore that. But as far as carry distances, as far as ball speed, as far as apex, launch angle, all of those types of things, this works really well. There is a $120 subscription that you can get with the Garmin R10, but all that's going to get you is access to the Home T Hero feature, which is kind of like a half simulator. It's not like a full 3D simulator, but it allows you to play simulated rounds that actually works pretty well. So if you want to just kind of warm up on the range on the course you're about to go play, this works really well. It also gives you increased cloud video storage. So I think you get up to 10,000 swings saved in the cloud. So if you're someone that records every single swing and you want to see that random 8-iron from 9 months ago, then you should probably pay the extra $10 a month. But for most people, aside from the Home T Hero feature, this is going to give you everything you need. You can still use E6, you can still get all the metrics within the Garmin app without paying the subscription fee, which is really nice. You should also consider this one if you are already in the Garmin ecosystem. So if you have a Garmin watch and you're already using the Garmin Golf app, or maybe you've got the Approach Z82 rangefinder, then this uses the same app. I love that Garmin has one app for all of their golf products, and the more products you use and the more you use the app, the more useful it becomes. So if you're already using Garmin products, then I would go with this just so all of your data is in one place and the data you're getting becomes that much more useful. If you're trying to decide between this and the SC4 because they are the ones that are closest in price, even though the SC4 has the built-in screen and might on paper have more features, I personally would probably go with the Garmin just because the app is so much better. And like I said, that's saying something because the Garmin app isn't necessarily great, but it's much more user-friendly. It's easier to get the data you need. It's not as buggy as the SC4. So until the SC4 app experience gets improved, I would probably lean towards this, unless you're not worried about the app at all and you just like the screen and getting those basic numbers we talked about, in which case, certainly go with the SC4. And finally, that brings us to the Rapsodo MLM2PRO. Between all of these, this is definitely the most full-featured. It is also the most accurate. So not only does it have Doppler radar, but it also has not one, but 2 cameras to both record your swing and track the spin rate on the ball. It's got a second high-speed camera that's specifically used to track spin rate. So if you use the Rapsodo RPT balls, which are essentially fancy chrome soft balls that have lots of little dots on it so the camera can easily see which way the ball's moving and how fast it is moving, if you use that, it is going to get you the most accurate spin out of any of these by a long shot. The Rapsodo also has the most robust app features. So we talked about Home T Hero, that kind of half simulator experience that the Garmin provides. Rapsodo's got its own version of it called Rapsodo Simulation. And it works pretty much just as well. I would slightly lean towards the Garmin as being a better experience, but they're close enough that if you're using one versus the other, it's not really going to change the experience that much. The Rapsodo also has some additional practice modes that have been some of the most fun simulator training modes I have ever used, specifically the combine feature. What this is you have 4 rounds. You hit 3 different clubs, 2 shots each for a total of 24 shots. It then gives you points based on how close to the targets you are for each of those shots. So you might hit a pitching wedge, a 6-iron, and a driver, and for each shot, it's going to give you points. And at the end of it, it's going to give you a whole score. It's going to give you a detailed breakdown. It's going to give you suggestions for what you should practice based on your results. It works really, really well, and it's a lot of fun. So if you're someone that wants help knowing what to practice, and you want feedback directly based on your performance within that practice session, the Rapsodo does that really, really well. So across the board, because of the 2 cameras and the Doppler, I have found this to be the most accurate compared to all of the launch monitors we have talked about today. It also has the most courses when it comes to E6, so this is really the most full-featured product out of all of them. I will say when you're going up market and you're comparing it to the Mevo Plus, I think the Mevo Plus software is way better. This is still really kind of consumery. It doesn't allow me to get all the data and sort the data in the ways I would like to and configure it in different ways, but it does a better job of that than either of the other 2 in this price range. But here is the kicker. This is $699, so it's the most expensive of all the products here. And then after the first year, you're going to have to pay for the Rapsodo membership, which is $200 a year. Now, you don't have to do it if you just want the base level of data, which is essentially like carry distance and a few other metrics. But if you want the coaching features, if you want that high-speed camera, if you want the simulator stuff, if you want any of the stuff that really makes this the best launch monitor under $1,000, you're gonna have to pay for the subscription. So all of a sudden, this becomes quite a bit more expensive than any of these other products. Now, if you use it a ton and you use all those features, then honestly, the subscription, it's not a big deal. I think it's money well spent. But if you're the kind of person that you're like, well, I'm only gonna take this out and use it once a month, well, $200 a year, that's a hard pill to swallow for something you're not going to be using on a regular basis. So, to wrap it up, when you're looking across all 3 of these, I think this is arguably the best if you are just looking at the device itself. If you take cost out of it, if you take subscriptions out of it, I think this is the most accurate and it has the most features. The Garmin's kind of the one that performs really well across all the categories. It's not the most expensive, the simulator works well, it's still pretty accurate, it's not the best in class, it doesn't have quite as many features as the Rapsodo, it's not quite as accurate as the Rapsodo, but it's more consistent across the board than the SC4, and if you're already in the Garmin Golf ecosystem, then this is going to fit right in and just make your data that much more valuable. And lastly, if you're on a budget, this is the way to go. Under $500, plus you get the built-in screen, plus it takes up the least amount of space. Yes, the app struggles. Yes, the driver's going to struggle a little bit on accuracy, but for under $500, you are getting so much value. If this came out 3 years ago at $1,000, it would have been one of the hottest products on the market. So the fact it's $500 now is pretty mind-blowing. In fact, all of this is pretty mind-blowing. If you look at how far technology has come over the last couple years, and the fact any of these 3 launch monitors exist at the price point they do, it's pretty wild. So regardless of which one you choose, regardless of which one you decide is best for you, there really is no wrong decision. They all have pros and cons, but they're all going to allow you to practice. They're all going to be accurate enough to get you most of the data you need. And most importantly, they're going to allow you to have fun at home or on the range or wherever you decide to use them. So drop a comment if you have questions about any of these, because I've used them all a ton. So hopefully I can answer them and help figure out what you need for your specific situation. And if I can't, remember, I've got that quiz. It'll take you 20 seconds to go take it to figure out which one is right for your situation. So be sure to take a look at that. So with that, my name is Sean Ogle. I'm the founder of this thing here at Breaking 80, where we do cool golf tech product reviews and golf course reviews. If you got some value out of this, it would help me out tremendously if you could give this a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, drop a comment, do all those things for engagement so that I can continue making videos like this that hopefully help you make good buying decisions or just entertain you when you're not on the golf course. With that, I hope you have an excellent day, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.